Okay, so I'm the Abby out of Abby and Rosie, and we, as they said, are two members of the Nethergate Writers. Some of our shire members are on the slide behind us, and some of them are seated in the audience tonight. Might wave if we ask them to. So the Nethergate Writers, we are a group of at the moment, about 12 writers. We hatched as the publishing arm of creative writing classes at the University of Dundee. But since then, we've evolved into a bit more of an independent group, which is probably just as well, given the direction of travel for adult education classes at the university at the moment. I sometimes think of us as part-time creatives. We are people like project managers, say, or librarians by day, who break out into creative stuff during our spare time. We're quite diverse. We have amongst us a farmer and an ex-head teacher, and I've gone to a slide quicker than I thought. Okay, so what do? Well, we write, obviously, but as a group, we get together to share, discuss, and refine our work. And for those of us who are prone to procrastination, and I'm one of them, we find that the discipline of a deadline is quite good to inspire inspiration where all else fails. Also a little addicted to alliteration. So the purpose of our discussions is usually to progress our work, whether that's understanding our characters, developing our plot, or sometimes it's just about getting some help to find the right words. The types of discussion that we have in search of authenticity can range from the purely technical, so like it's not okay to write about droids, for example, because that's a registered trademark of Lucasfilms, to sometimes the contextual, like when is it okay to call a pie a pie? As well as being interesting and kind of weird, some of those discussions, they're also really helpful. So when I first started writing, I was really worried that my writing would turn out just to be a kind of more mediocre version of someone else's. But what I've discovered is that we all have our own voices and we all have our own preferred outputs too, whether we're writing for children or for young adults or for, I guess, older adults. Or whether we're writing in the past or the present or the weirdly, usually dystopian future, everybody has their own style. So, in preparing for tonight's talk, it occurred to me that the old adage, picture speaks 1,000 words, was something that, as a writer, I don't entirely agree with. Rosie's hopefully going to give you some examples for why that's the case, but I kind of like this picture, which does a little bit of both.
Thank you. Variety truly is the spice of our writing group. We have members who write poems, short stories, children's stories, memoir, non-fiction, even a couple who are brave enough to admit they're writing a novel. Over the next few slides, I'm going to show you just some random examples of what we do. This isn't Roddy, but I'm going to tell you about Roddy. He's one of our prolific poets who can write a poem on anything and everything, but his best ones are when he's incensed by something in the news, and he comes in with a ranting polemic, which he drops to some imaginary hip-hop beats. He's a legend. Doris Schnabel, we all love Doris Schnabel, and you will too one day when this is published. She's a detective embroiled in a gritty case when a Parisian opera singer is murdered backstage. The weapon, pentothal barbiturate, which was lathered to the underside of his wig. We quite often write about our surroundings. One of my favourites was from Sue, who told us about how in 1964 she saved up the equivalent of 32p to go to Larg's music shop on Whitehall Street and buy her very own copy of A Hard Day's Night. It made me want to travel back in time. Fiona wrote a version of one of the Selkie legends, which absolutely broke my heart. Her description of a mother building 4 tiny graves for her seal children will never leave me. How she covered them with a blanket every night so they wouldn't get cold, how she lit candles so they wouldn't be afraid of the dark. From heartbreak to hilarity, we recently heard a piece about a family who were emptying out the wardrobe of an uncle who'd passed away. In amongst all the grey drab suits, they found a jazzy waistcoat, and it turned out that he liked to wear this waistcoat when he was watching the snooker. We loved this idea, but then they found handcuffs and a leather mask in the wardrobe. We didn't like that so much. In amongst all the giggling and fun that we have, we also have some honest and frank discussions. This was a line from a poem by one of our members about suffering from depression. A really beautiful piece of work which affected us all. This is Derek. He's a data bot. Just to clarify, that's data bot, not droid. He travels to planet Earth to record the colours of the rainbow, the sound of the sea, the feeling of sand beneath his toes, to take this back to his own planet, which has been raided and drained of all colour and light. So all of this talking and writing and talking has not been without success. Some of our members have been published in local anthologies, and over the years the Nethergate Writers have published 9 collections of short stories. We also have a website, www.nethergatewriters.org. We're on Facebook and we're on Twitter. Please come and find us there. But most importantly, we're about providing support. Our members are always willing to listen, and they're always full of enthusiasm. I'll leave you with this line from Ray, who's probably our least prolific poet, but it is an absolute beauty. Thank you very much for listening.